Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to iFIBER 1 News. I'm Cody Johnson with news from around the Columbia Basin for Wednesday, December 12th. Tonight we report on the death of a worker at the Moses Lake Genie plant, and we announce the results of the Moses Lake Irrigation and Rehabilitation District. We look at a report of a pack of wolves inside the town of Soap Lake, and how Moses Lake is spending $190,000 to replace trees. In sports, we talk about the men's and women's basketball teams for Big Bend Community College and the Pac-12 Player of the Week. Our spotlight story tonight is about how a Moses Lake church is celebrating Christmas. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. Our top story tonight, 31-year-old Michael Benjamin Huntley died after a piece of equipment fell and pinned his head at the Moses Lake Genie plant. At about 7:25 p.m. last night, emergency crews responded to the plant just north of Moses Lake. Huntley was taken to Samaritan Hospital in Moses Lake, where he was pronounced dead a short time later. Grant County Coroner Craig Morrison released his identity after Huntley's family was notified. The State Department of Labor and Industries is investigating, and company officials said that the plant has temporarily ceased operations as the investigation proceeds. The company says it is providing on-site counseling to help other plant workers deal with the tragedy. The Moses Lake Irrigation and Rehabilitation District held an election to fill a third board position. Here with the story is Ryan Lancaster.
Many ratepayers in the Moses Lake Irrigation and Rehabilitation District turned out in person last night to cast their votes for the next board director. The election was held from 1 to 8 p.m. at 211 North Elder in Moses Lake. Moses Lake business owner David Skog and former Grant County Undersheriff Ken Kernan are competing for the seat now held by Rich Archer, who opted out of a run for re-election. Preliminary counts put Skog in the lead today with about 1,220 votes to Kernan's 620. The numbers of walk-in votes came in at about 570 below last year's election between Mick Hansen and Bill Bailey. This year's election is far from over, with hundreds of absentee ballots still to count. MLIRD officials plan to certify total tallies on Monday. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Thanks, Ryan. Big Bend Community College is warning people of a scam where a young man is asking for cash to send a college wrestling team to Japan. College spokesman Doug Slice said Big Bend Community College does not have a wrestling team. Residents in Moses Lake reported the suspicious activity to the college, who enlisted help from the Grant County Sheriff's Office. One woman became suspicious when the young man declined a donation unless it was cash. The suspected con man is described as a young Caucasian male standing 5 foot 6 inches tall with short sandy-colored hair. The college received reports of the suspect working on Admiral Road. The college asks that anyone with information about the suspected scammer call the Grant County Sheriff's Office at 509-754-2011, or if you encounter him, please call 911. You are going to pay about $5 more each month for electricity from the Grant County PUD. The PUD commissioners reviewed comments made at a series of public hearings and moved forward with the 2013 budget of $305 million. The commission approved a plan to increase rates by 6% for all Grant County customers. The plan is connected to revenue generation for the 2013 budget. The extra money is needed for turbine and generator replacements at the Wanapum Dam, hatchery improvements and construction, recreation site enhancements, and improvements to the electricity grid for increased stability. PD Commissioner Tom Flint said, "These are not easy decisions, but ultimately, I believe we found a balance between the needs of the public and the demands of an aging infrastructure. By working together, we were able to reduce the proposed increase from 8% down to 6%. I believe it's important for the public to know that we are making good on our commitment to our customers while fulfilling the obligations of our federal license to operate Priest Rapids and Wanapum dams." Reports of a wolf pack roaming the streets of Soap Lake turned out to be nothing more than large huskies on the loose. Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife Captain Chris Anderson said the agency was contacted by people on the west side of town. They said when they let their dog out around 5:30 a.m., they saw 3 large wolves or wolf breed dogs in their yard close to their deck. A state biologist responded to look into the matter and determined the resident had seen large domestic dogs, not wolves. Moses Lake City Council decided to spend $190,000 to replace trees. Here with the story is Ryan Lancaster.
The Moses Lake City Council last night was divided on whether or not trees should continue to line downtown city streets. The conversation was sparked when city staff requested permission to solicit bids for a tree replacement project estimated to cost the city $190,000. The project would remove 30 trees and tree planters in the downtown district and replace 25 of them with European hornbeams. Municipal Services Director Gary Haar said the city is replacing locust trees with the slower growing hornbeams, which still need replacing every 20 years or so. Haar said the city replaced about the same number of trees last year. Eventually, most of the roughly 200 trees on downtown sidewalks have to be replaced. At $7,000 per tree, Councilman David Colonel said he was concerned the continued cost is a waste of money. Haar said crews aren't just pulling trees, they're having to replace sidewalk pavers that buckle from overgrown roots, dig out and replace old tree wells, and reconnect irrigation and electrical systems.
Has the city staff ever considered the fact that maybe we should keep doing this tree replacement?
Colonel said the city should maybe just consider replacing the pavers and not replacing trees.
I think we get more complaints about the trees than we do people who say they really like having the trees in the downtown area.
Councilman Karen Liebricht agreed.
I would like to see this project postponed at least until we can discuss this at retreat and perhaps come up with a more viable, economical way to keep our downtown beautiful without such an added expense.
But Councilman Dick Dean pointed out that once the city replaces the old tree wells with a newly designed culvert, the only thing that will need replacing in the future is the trees themselves.
I'm strongly in support of a request to call for bids and go with it and make this our home, not make it this windswept desert, oasis, flat, dust-barren community.
The council ultimately voted 4-2 in favor of moving forward with the tree replacement. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Thanks, Ryan. A new livestock processing facility will open this spring in Odessa. The Odessa Public Development Authority contracted Spokane-based Garco Construction to design and build a 7,000 square foot USDA livestock processing facility in the Odessa Industrial Park, according to the Star newspaper. The facility is scheduled to open in May. It will serve small to mid-sized producers, offering USDA carcass inspection, processing, packaging, and improved access to retail markets, previously unavailable to local producers. The facility is expected to bring 10 to 15 jobs to the area while improving food security for the region by giving consumers pasture-to-plate traceability. The State Department of Corrections is looking for more people with arrest warrants. Each of the people you see here have warrants for their arrest and are wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these individuals, the DOC asks you not to attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. We'll be right back after these messages with the latest from our iFIBER 1 Weather Center.